You're listening to the Cashology Podcast by FNBO, a place dedicated to helping you become more financially savvy every day. It's a little like school, but your only homework is living your best financial life. I'm your host, Justin, and class is now in session. Welcome back to the Cashology Podcast, a place where we dive deep into personal finance to bring you actionable insights and real-life wisdom. Today, we're lucky to be joined again by Savvy Sagittarius, aka the inspiring Elyse Lyons. She is known to her tens of thousands of followers as the queen of the no spend month, something that we'll be diving into more on today's episode. Elyse, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining us again.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes. Before we get into it, do you just want to give us a little bit about yourself for those listeners who might not be familiar with you?
Yeah. Like you said, my name's Elyse. I run the Savvy Sagittarius Instagram and TikTok website, and it all kind of started because I was 22, wanted to pay off all my debt, and kind of didn't have anyone who was doing the same thing. So I started sharing my journey, and it led me to where I am now.
Very cool. Wonderful. Well, today's episode is all about the no spend month. So many, including me, are intrigued by the idea of no spend month. What exactly does this mean to you, and what impact has it had on you financially?
I personally have maybe a little bit of a different take on no spend months. But to me, the no spend month is only buying gas, only buying groceries, paying your bills, and then putting all of that extra money that you might have after that and throwing it towards a financial goal. And so I think a lot of people come from a no spend month as like a month of deprivation and a month of like, I don't get to do anything. And it's such a like poor me, sad like month. But for me, it's really a chance of like changing my mindset and saying like, what can I use that I've already paid for? I have a closet full of board games. I have a basket full of craft supplies. Like, what can I do? And how can I use those like public free resources like parks and libraries to take advantage of my time and really enjoy it without spending money?
Oh, that's wonderful. So I like that creativity and like countering deprivation with creativity and using.
Yes.
Yeah, I really like that. So it seems no spend months go beyond simply just saving money. Can you talk a little bit about the deeper personal shifts this challenge promotes?
Yes, I think it's so much deeper than this, like, I don't get to spend money. It is, how can I spend quality time with my friends without going to drinks and dinner? Can I invite them over? Can I flex that hospitality muscle a little bit more and invite them over? They can invite me over, back to like the board games and the hanging out, and just like really being a lot more mindful about what I want to spend my money on. I think in tracking my no spend months over the last few years, I have really said like, I really love spending money on going to do like activities versus like always going to dinner with friends, or takeout is a big thing that every time I get takeout, I feel guilty and I feel frustrated because it was usually not in the plan.
Yeah.
And it's usually that like something went wrong, something, happened, and then I got takeout because I just didn't want to deal with it. And so it created more of that mindful of like, hey, if I don't get takeout tonight, maybe I can do like an activity or something that I enjoy a lot more and use that money in a way that I'm not going to feel guilty about it. I'm not going to feel bad. Like I'm going to enjoy that time.
Yeah, absolutely. And, kind of like what you were saying in the beginning there, with my group of friends, we do sometimes weekly, sometimes it's bi-weekly. We do like just a get together. So sometimes we do go out, right? And we'll like get takeout, but then sometimes we'll stay the night. So we'll go to somebody's house and then we make dinner like as a group, and then do like a fun, let's critique like the meal, what we could have done differently. So
I love that.
Yeah, I like that creativity and kind of just being more thoughtful about like what you're doing. So I think that's great. So for those inspired to take on this challenge, what are the critical steps in preparing for a no spend month?
I think one of the things that you can do first is to kind of look at those last 30 days of spending. This is something that I talk about over and over and over again because I think it's so critical. But look at those last 30 days of what you've spent money on and see what's going to trip you up. See if you're stopping at the gas station to get an energy drink. It's almost never just an energy drink. You're getting that slice of pizza, that bag of chips, that whatever. So it's never just the energy drink. But if you can buy the energy drinks in bulk from like Sam's Club or Amazon, Costco, whatever, then you have that like ability to like cut out even the extra spending that you're spending at the gas station. Or if you're always getting takeout on Wednesday night because your kid has soccer, then maybe you're making a bunch of peanut butter and jellies for the car. So at least you could make it home and you're not planning that 3-course meal for Wednesday night after soccer when everyone's starving. You're planning the chicken nuggets in the air fryer the second you get home. And so just really looking at where your spending is and creating a plan ahead of time to figure out like, how can I negate that spending?
Got it. So is that, if I take that and kind of, reviewing last month and kind of getting a feel, do you liken that to just like, is that your introduction to building a budget of?
Absolutely.
Yeah, got it.
Yes, that is all of my clients when I'm working with them. That's the first place to start because I think that we're spending a lot more on things that we don't even realize. So I was just talking about this on my TikTok and I was saying that like our brain can process the like big grocery trips, the $50, the $100, the $200. Our brain like recognizes that we did those. Our brain is usually not like, oh yeah, but I also had that $5 trip and that $10 trip and that, like, we're not adding those up. And so when we sit down with our last 30 days of spending, we can see like, this is actually what I spent and where do I start and where do I go from there?
I think that's really important because one of the things that always sneaks up on me, and I think it's like one of the best and worst things that were ever invented, was automatic payments of those $5 subscriptions of, I don't even know how many video streaming platforms I was enrolled in one month. There's like 20 of them. And I'm like, I only use Netflix. So like, why am I paying? And right. They just,
those Apple subscriptions.
Right. So I do think, reviewing the last 30 days and actually seeing it, because for me, nope, out of sight, out of mind, because, I'm not physically swiping the card kind of a thing.
Absolutely.
So coming back to the no spend month, do you have any tips for staying motivated and on track during a no spend month?
I have a tracker freebie on my website that I hang in my kitchen. So I will like color in the different days based on like what I spent. So like it's green for no spending, purple for like only essentials, and then pink for extras. But so I can see, I've been tracking my spending like that for the last 2 years. And so I can see all my habits of like how I've spent money. But I do also have a free Facebook group where we share our wins, share our struggles, share the like, I really just want to get coffee and I have to drive all the way across town, and people are like, you can do it. Like kind of that cheering you on. And even just like, I have a friend who we will do a no spend challenge together. And so we'll text each other like, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this.
That's fun.
Like,
little, so, what is that?
That accountability is just so good.
So I know that you're a mom, which makes me wonder, can families use no spend months as a learning opportunity?
I have a 3-year-old, and so I will say that my motherhood has been short so far, so I can't speak for teenagers. However, I do think that with kids, it kind of does create this like mindful spending conversation. I read a statistic a while back that kids develop their spending habits around the age of 7. And so having that conversation of like, hey, we're not going to spend money this month. And what are we going to do instead? And getting them involved in, we're going to go to the park, a bunch of times. We're going to maybe use the membership to the zoo that we pay for and we like never say we have time for. We're going to make time to do those things. I think that framing it in a way that like, we have so many things. Like last night, we set up an air mattress in the living room and had popcorn and watched a movie, and it was free. And I think that it does require a little bit more effort. It requires a little bit more creativity, but I don't think that parenting requires a bunch of spending. I think that our kids want quality time over that spending. And this challenge really highlights that to me.
I don't have kids yet, but I think that's so true. It's really the time spent together, probably, because I can even think back your statistic of 7. Now I'm just like remembering time I would spend with my mom helping balance a checkbook, or
I love that.
or like when we would go shopping, of like, it is ingrained in me today. Nope, it's not on the list. So we should have, before we left the house, right? We should have put it on the list. It's not on the list. It doesn't go on the cart. And so, yeah, those habits kind of build at a young age. And yeah, I just think back to those, and those are like fun memories. I don't know. It's like just makes me think of my mom. So, when was your last no spend month?
I am currently in a no spend month for the month of March. So it has been, the weather has like been nice and then cold and then nice. And so it's been a different challenge of like, okay, we're all in the winter, like no spend mindset, but also in the spring of going outside and just using the outside as our free. So it's definitely been an interesting like middle.
Sure. Yeah. So obviously weather can play an impact on how no spend month works. Maybe it gets a little bit difficult when it's nice out, but when it's like rainy or snowy, like we could get any day in Nebraska, it's a little bit easier. So has there been anything else, besides weather, that you found yourself reflecting on after, well, I guess continuing as you're going through your no spend month?
I think one of the big things that I've really been paying attention to lately is how our friendships impact our spending, and just that like conversation of like, hey, I don't want to spend money today, so like what can we do instead? And it can be a very tough conversation to set that boundary with friends. But I have had some friends who are like, yes, let's find all the free things. Let's do all the free things. And so that has been a fun, like, relationship building, quality time building. Like, we had game night on Saturday night. We have had so much fun with it. But there's also other people in my life who are like, let's go out, let's go do this. And I'm like, hey, like, I'm in a no spend month. Like, I'm just not going to do that this month, but I'll put it in the budget for next month.
Yeah.
And yeah, so those like relationships with other people definitely have a huge impact on our spending. And I don't think that that's a conversation enough.
Yeah. So I kind of want to drill into that a little bit. I just said like drill into that. So corporate. But so in like my friend groups, we're very like vocal, or like it's very normal for us to talk about like, ooh, I don't know, that's like an expensive place to go, or no, I don't think we can do that trip to that location because it's super expensive. So like, what do you recommend for people for like getting into like those conversations or being open? Because sometimes I feel like personal finance is still like a taboo, right? Like I can't, like you're not, right? Politics, religion, personal finance. Those are things you can't talk with people about.
Absolutely.
I know this is a little bit beyond no spend month, but kind of recommend having those conversations with friends, because they're like a really big part of our lives and they can impact spending so much.
I think that it depends on your degree of friendship as well, and like kind of their finance situation too. So there's a lot of different factors into this. But I would say that just being kind of honest and saying like, hey, I am working on some money goals. I want to pay off debt so I can do this. And I don't want to spend as much, but also just having that conversation of and like when you have that conversation, recognizing that you might be met with resistance.
Sure.
People are going to feel uncomfortable when you're making changes if they are currently not. And so having that mindset when you go into the conversation that it might not be met with unicorns and rainbows. And
everybody's on their own journey.
Yes. And you cannot change someone else's money habits. Like they have to be ready to change their own money habits. One of the big things that I talk about a lot is like knowing why you want this. So for me, my why is that when my kid, or if my kid has kids, I want to be able to be like nanny grandma.
Yeah.
And so like that's the far future of like all of these little actions that I'm taking today are impacting that circumstance in the future. And so knowing that is really digging into the why and like the motivation it helps kind of like make those boundaries easier
Yeah.
of like saying like, no, I'm not willing to give up my nanny grandma time in the future for this random takeout on a Friday night. Like,
Okay, so let's say somebody listening so far likes what they're hearing, but they aren't quite ready to commit to an entire month of no spending. What do you say to those people?
I always suggest starting with a week. If you're like, I don't know if I can do a whole month, start with like a Monday through Sunday. And also just start with tracking your habits for a month to see where you currently are. I think that simply just tracking your habits, you kind of get into the gamification of like, I want to color it green and I want to not spend money.
Yeah.
And so it kind of creates that little like, I always joke like the dopamine of coloring it green. And so being able to just like say like, hey, maybe I'm not going to be able to not spend money other than essentials this whole month. But being able to say like, I can have 15 days where I don't spend any money, or I can have a certain, 20 days.
Yeah.
And giving yourself those exceptions. And also remembering that every single month is going to have a reason to spend money.
Sure.
Like every month has a holiday or a birthday or a wedding or a baby shower or whatever. And so just going into the first of the month with a budget for that thing and a plan on how you're going to maybe take it as an advantage to like, or as an opportunity to, hey, it's going to be Easter. How can we do Easter on a budget?
Yeah.
How can we be a little bit more creative or thrifty with what we do instead of just running to Target and filling up the cart with all the Easter stuff? Maybe we can thrift some items, or we can, get a big toy or whatever. We can make something. And back to just that like quality time of like, for kids, it is more about the quality time of like the traditions, like dyeing the Easter eggs or whatever. And so I think that just going into it with an open mind and saying like, let's just see how this goes.
Sure. I love that. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Elyse. But before we get out of here, do you have anything you'd like to tell the audience about, like any upcoming projects where they can find you online, etc.?
I am going to be hosting a No Spend April in my Facebook group. So I don't know when this podcast will release, but if you hear it and you want to jump in the middle of it, go ahead, and I will be sharing it on my socials and in my free No Spend Facebook group. And all of that information is in my link in my bio.
Perfect and wonderful. We'll make sure we get those links as well in the show notes. Again, thank you so much, Elyse, for joining us.
Thank you.
To connect with Savvy Sagittarius and dive deeper into her financial wellness insights, you can find her on Instagram and TikTok at the Savvy Sagittarius. For more resources, check out fnbo.com or subscribe to us on YouTube or on your favorite podcast platform. Consider giving us a rating and a review as they help us get the word out. And remember, our discussions are designed to inform and inspire. For personalized advice, we always recommend consulting a financial professional. Until next time, keep on making smart financial choices, and thanks for listening to the Cashology Podcast. First National Bank of Omaha is a member FDIC and equal housing lender. Podcasts provided by the bank are for informational purposes only and not intended to offer specific advice. It's crucial to consult a financial professional for personalized guidance when making decisions about your financial situation. Deposit products offered by the bank are FDIC insured for added security. However, investment products offered are not FDIC insured, not deposits or obligations of the bank, not insured by any federal government agency, not guaranteed by the bank, and may lose value over time. Lastly, please note the Cashology Podcast is copyrighted by First National Bank of Omaha. Wow! You're killing it, Justin. I know.